You can do tabletop.
Did you get a thing? I did get a thing. There we go.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. It's a full room here. We have a couple of guests online. Thanks Aziz for joining. He's our B2 area director. And online we have Koshi, who's also an area director, I think Division C.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Koshi wanted to see how we run hybrid meetings, so I asked him to join us. So thanks for joining, Koshi. And then we have Matthew online as well. You're first time?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for joining. What's your name?
Anand.
Anant, okay. Thanks for joining. All right, so we have meetings.
We have
tonight.
Matthew on as well.
Matthew, yes. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes. So we'll have the president introduce the guests. We are at meeting 451. Just a reminder to silence your cell phones and mobile devices. And if you have to get up, do so quietly, just so that we are not disturbing the speakers. And then with that, I will hand it over to the president, Tom.
Acting president,
Acting president, yes.
I'm filling in for Maria tonight. She couldn't be here, so I will be serving as the president. So the chain of command, Chris, as you know, we can never leave the club. We have a proper chain of command, so that you don't have to worry that the club is adrift without leadership, right?
They never leave.
Some people may say that having me at the podium causes the club to be adrift. But he's laughing. No, it's not that funny. It's true. It's true. What's your name again?
Anand.
Alan?
Anand.
Alan.
Anand.
How do you spell it?
Anant. Anant.
How do you spell it?
A-N-A-N-T.
Anant.
Yes.
Excellent. Welcome.
A-N-A-N-T.
And
Thank
you're a guest.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
So, my name's Tom Bartesi, and let's have some fun tonight. We only have one speaker, which means we'll have an extended table topics. And we also have a first-time Madam Toastmaster tonight. Melissa bravely took on the role. So I would encourage you to have fun with it and just make it your own. There's no right or wrong. But just follow the agenda. But you don't have to worry about time tonight, since we should have more time than usual with just one speaker. Before we launch into the meeting, I want to recognize our guests. First, Anant, come up here and tell me who you are and what brought you here tonight.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. My name is Anant Kumar. I live in this neighborhood for last 6-7 years. I'm married with 2 kids, and of course you can tell by my look that I work in technology. No prizes to guess, I guess. I have been part of Toastmaster 9 to 10 years before, but then after I did Toastmaster for some time, and after that I did not. I guess that proved me very costly. So I again trying to pick it up again. Last couple of weeks back, I tried to reach to the club, whoever host this club, and ask if I can join in upcoming week, any of the upcoming week, and they said yes. But again, I could not join for a couple of weeks. But finally, I made it today here. So I'm glad that I could actually get back to this Toastmaster club. That's it. From
Welcome.
my side.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming, and yeah, we're a fun group, and I don't know how it compares to your last Toastmasters experience, but we really enjoy the art of public speaking and developing our leadership skills. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
We also have Aziz, who is our area director. Aziz, come up here and tell the group why you're here tonight. Are we supposed to be on our best behavior, or what's going on here?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Thank you, Mr. Acting President. I like your club very much. It has an amazing vibe, I have to say. I've been to many clubs in this district. I say your club is one of the best clubs I've seen so far. So I joined Toastmaster back in early 2014, and I was in Cleveland, Ohio. I moved here to the Bay Area in summer 2022, and that's the beauty about Toastmaster. Wherever you go, you can always find a club. And last year I've become the area director. I also visited your club, I believe last October of 2023, and this is my second visit. And as I said goes, be yourself.
That's very scary.
Welcome back. Aziz.
So it's important that what he's saying is, let's all relax. Just because we have a dignitary in the room doesn't mean we have to act any differently than we would normally act, okay? Thank you. Thank you for being here, Aziz. Anna is one of our return contestants, so thank you. We didn't scare her off from last week, so thank you for returning. And we have two people online. Matthew, who are you and what brought you here tonight, Matthew?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Matthew Cruz. I moved to the Bay Area almost 2 years ago, right out of college, for work in tech as well. And I've just been testing out a few of the different Toastmasters organizations here in the Bay. So I wanted to see how this particular club operated, and I'm excited for this meeting today.
Excellent. Welcome. And last but not least, we have Shirag's good friend, Kosi. Kosi, who are you and what brought you here tonight? You're an area director as well, I guess.
Oops.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I'm George Koshi, and I'm also an area director, just like Aziz and Shirag. I actually belong to a club called Friendly Toasters, and we just switched to the hybrid form 2 meetings ago, and our meetings are still kind of dysfunctional. I heard very good things about your club from Aziz, and also from also from Shirag, and I just want to test out how good your meetings are. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, we've been doing the hybrid meetings for over 2 years now, maybe almost 3 years. And what I would tell you is, it'll take you a month or 2 or 3 to work out all the kinks. So don't get discouraged if things aren't really seeming seamless at the beginning. You'll figure out how to fix things and what works, what doesn't work, and in a couple months you'll be smooth sailing. So stick with it, and good luck with that. And nice to have you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before I turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster, I want to share with you, this is an article that I've been saving for a while for an opportunity when we had a little more time. And we're always talking about filler words, ums and ahs and things like that, right? And there was an article in the Wall Street Journal months ago, and I saved it, and it's how filler words, what you're communicating when you're using filler words in a conversation with someone, not necessarily a public speech, but a conversation. And there's a lot of dynamics going on by when you say or so, more so than when we're public speaking. But what caught my ear, or eye, I should say, and I thought was interesting is, you can write into the editor. And there were 2 letters that were written in on this article, and I'll just read you a portion of one of them. One of them is the idea that by using filler words, you're indicating to someone, presumably someone at work, your boss or someone, that you're lower on the totem pole than they are. This writer says, how these words and sounds, they demonstrate how these words and sounds locate us in the social hierarchy and keep us there. We know that those in subordinate positions are expected to use filler words to prevent too much silence in a given situation, whereas superiors By contrast, use the comfort with silence to project power. Okay? Power, while subordinates use it to reinforce their unquestioned lower status. And he goes on to tell his students, he says, changing how you use the filler words is an important step in changing how we are located in society. So while we praise cognitive activity with an let's also be mindful where it is parking us in the pecking order. Very interesting. This other letter comes from a doctor, and he says, for most of my career, I have telephoned patients the night before surgery to reassure them and to be sure that they're all prepared. The patients don't know the phone call's coming, and it's an extremely effective form of developing relationships which are cut short by insurance companies in most of medicine. The message I share with each patient is very much the same. And to keep my words from sounding too robotic, I intentionally insert ums and ahs to make my identical message sound spontaneous. I also use them in lectures as a setup for old jokes to make them sound fresh. I'll remember that.
Yeah.
So when I tell a joke over and over again, I'll throw in an or an to sound like, hey, this guy's telling this joke for the first time, right? So anyway, I thought these were
He's so
interesting.
good off the cuff.
Old material.
You're like,
So I hope you got something out of that. I've been saving this for a while for the right occasion.
good.
Without any further ado, Melissa, Madam Toastmaster, the floor is all yours. Have fun with
Thank
it
you,
tonight.
sir.
Sure.
Okay. All right, well, I will be extemporizing because it's my first time and I couldn't help myself. And really quick, on the way in the car, Ray was having me, or actually no, he was sharing about a podcast he had listened to earlier. And he started our time in the car by asking me, I'm gonna share your story. If there was, because, and I'll tell you why in a minute, so just bear with me. If there was a bottle with a really thin neck and a goose in it, how would you get the goose out?
Without hurting the goose
Without
or
hurting-
breaking the bottle.
Yes, thank you.
So
Without hurting the
imagine the
goose.
goose in a bottle.
So picture it in your mind,
Yeah.
like I like to say.
Mhm.
And how would you get it out?
Mhm. Can I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
This isn't a gray goose, is it?
Pour it
Someone knows gray goose.
That's really good.
Yeah, did I laugh too hard? Is
Right.
that this? Oh my God.
That's really good.
All right.
Any ideas for how we would get it out?
No.
Unless you already know the answer. So he then told me, because I said, oh, starve it. He said, well, I think that falls under hurting it. And then, there's my sorry. I don't know what I guessed after that. Did I guess anything else?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, anyway, he said, just imagine the goose is not in the bottle anymore. And the reason for him saying that was because we were discussing limiting beliefs. And there was no rule, but as humans we operate with a lot of limiting beliefs and we don't always know what they are. We don't have that awareness. And I was saying, I wonder what my limiting beliefs are. And I know, as we were coming here, one of them was that I couldn't be a Toastmaster because I'm newer to the club and haven't had many other roles yet. But his reminder that we have those limiting beliefs doesn't mean that they are actually true was kind of what I held on to in the car. So I ask you to think about your limiting beliefs when you're doing Toastmasters, because it's a big step for a lot of us to come up and give something new a try. So just something to think about. So tonight it sounds like we've got only one speech coming from Alexey. Is that correct? Okay, so I'm gonna invite everybody up to talk a little bit about what they're gonna say or what their role is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Alexey's gonna come up after we go through that, and I'm gonna have Vivian come up and talk about table topics and what her job is and what she's gonna be looking for or doing during that time. Yes?
All right.
Come on up, Vivian.
Hi everyone. I did last week's table topics. I really enjoyed it, so that's why I volunteered to do it again. And this time again, I'm gonna try something new. I'm gonna hold on to the freshness until we start the table topics. And I do need a bit more time this time, so I think it's good.
I think we
timing,
have it.
right? Yeah, we do. And table topics is a tradition of Toastmasters. That's what I believe. it's opportunity for us to learn how to organize our thoughts quickly and also deliver the speech. So we'll have fun tonight. Thank you.
Next up, I want to invite our evaluator, Stacy. She's going to be evaluating Alexey on his speech, physical activities, and mental health. So come on up, Stacy.
Oh.
Hello, my name is Stacy Keenis. I signed up to be the evaluator. I am the single evaluator tonight, and I was thinking through, hopefully not going out of bounds on how I want to organize my evaluation. So there's multiple takeaways. And before, for those of you who haven't met me, I like to give evaluation on both content and delivery. So how is it organized? Because you put a lot of work into writing it, right? In the preparation. So there's a lot of content and then delivery. And I added one more, which I'm calling brand or first impression, which is the 5 words that come to mind as when I saw you, like the time I saw you present and I said, oh, polite, right? But you want to know what your brand is, right? So I'll start with brand and then content and delivery. And that's my strategy for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. I loved when you evaluated me and gave me such clear feedback. So I think you started a trend of looking at content and delivery. I know all of us have really appreciated that. Next up for functionary reports, I'm going to invite Julie up to tell us what she's looking for and what she's going to do as our timer. So come on up, Julie.
Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters. So today I will be keeping track of time. So I will be keeping track of speakers, table topics, and evaluations. And I will have this note card with little color notes. And I will be using them to notify each person that's speaking up here how much time they have left. Do I have to go over each area? Does anybody know? Is everybody aware?
I can share like the time for the speech, I think is the 5 to 7.
Okay. For the time for the speakers, there's table topics. Let's start with those. So table topics, they have 2 minutes, and at 1 minute mark, I would raise the green card, and then at the minute mark and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card, and then at the 2 minute mark, I would raise the red card. And for speeches, we have 46 minutes. At the 4 minute mark, I will raise the green card. At the 5 minute mark, I will raise the yellow card, and then at the 6 minute mark, I will raise the red card.
Perfect.
Sounds good. I love that you printed that out because I like to look at it on my phone and find that I get lost. So the fact that you printed it out is good. Don't get lost when you're going back and looking. Next up, I'm going to invite Chris up to tell us about his job as grammarian. Come on up, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Been waiting forever to have some fresh faces up here to be Toastmasters. So thank you. You're leading the cause.
All right.
We expect many more Toastmasters in the future to do
Keep
that.
getting looks.
Stacy, Anna,
I'm
all our
taking
new
notes.
members. Once again, Matthew, welcome, and Anant, welcome. And Matthew, if you're online, and George, you can go to lostgatostoastmasters.org and find our slides that we're following right now, so you can see what we plan tonight for our agenda, just to make sure. So I'll be the grammarian tonight. I'm going to be helping us all, keep track of our grammar. And what I love about this club is there's so many different perspectives and backgrounds and industries and professions, and everyone has a different way of describing something that they're trying to explain. So I'm going to try to pick out those things that are most memorable, right? So we can all learn from it. When we're up here talking, sometimes we don't even pick up on those nuanced phrases that we're mentioning. And then at the same time, for our English as a second language speakers, you've all challenged us to say, hey, we're here to get better. We're here because we want to know the correct way or the more appropriate way to say something. So without being nitpicky, I'm gonna try to do that tonight with some phrases that stand out in that way. Because you keep asking us for more feedback and you say, it's not rude, I'm here to improve, okay? So I'm gonna do that for you. The word of tonight that we're gonna try to use, that Melissa beat us to the bush in doing, is extemporize, which basically means to improvise. So we'll do a lot of extemporizing tonight during table topics, I imagine. That's when everyone can kind of get up here and do the improvisational 1 to 2 minutes. So what does this mean? To extemporize means to do something extemporaneously. A good talk show host must be able to extemporize when interviews don't go as planned. Ooh, how many have gone off the rails? We need to be ready for that as Toastmasters when that does happen, if and when it does happen at work or personal life. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and we went a little off the rails already because I accidentally skipped Carl. Not forgotten. Come on up, Carl. He is our awe counter. Very important job.
Thank you very much. This is a wonderful opportunity to extemporize. And I thought your article, Tom, was very, very interesting. You know, a lot of things we didn't think about.
Yeah.
Ahs and ums. My wife accuses me of using an awful lot of ahs and ums, and I guess that shows you where I am on the pecking order. Anyway, I will be looking for some of these overused phrases and ahs and ums. I don't even know how you spell Is it with 1 M or 2 M's? I'm not too sure. And I'll even be looking for some overused non-filler words, such as amazing and incredible. I mean, everybody seems to be using those words over and over and over again. So I'll be looking for that as well. And I hope I'll be helpful. I'm not going to be nitpicking and say, aha, there are 2 ahs, you know, from somebody. But in general, you know, if somebody has that as a problem, I will try to point it out. And let's hope for some improvement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Last but not least, our general evaluator, Ray. Come on up and tell everyone what you're going to be looking for through the entirety of our meeting.
Good evening, Toastmasters. My name is Ray. This is my first time being a grammarian, so I'll do my best. But as far as I know, I'm looking for how the meeting is run as far as timeliness goes, enthusiasm, preparation, organization, and our performance of duties, and just the overall effectiveness of the meeting and how well we do. Is there anything I missed?
Nope.
Okay.
General evaluator, right?
Yeah, general evaluator.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect,
Okay.
yep.
Did I not say that?
You said grammarian.
Oh, general evaluator.
She's like, we're gonna have 2, she got nervous.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Write that down as an improvement.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna, in just a moment, we're gonna invite up Alexey to begin our evening with a speech entitled Physical Activities and Mental Health, looking at effective body language. All right, so come on up. We're ready for you.
Thank you very much. And welcome. Management is here. So before we start, just have to admit I have to extemporize a little bit because my overnight flight kind of took some toll, more than I expected, plus my company decided to hold a meeting right before this meeting. So extemporization, I believe, is a key today for some of us. I'm on presentation mastery level 2, just going through effective body language trainings. So I'll do my best and try to open my mouth. Face, I promise. Yeah, just seriously has had lots of issues with pronunciation and body language, etc. That's what I'm working on right now in the course of topics I'm working on. Today's topic is physical activities and mental health. So more precisely, it's about how mental health and physical health are all interconnected in us. Let's start. What is mental health actually? Mental health is everything related to how our brain function and how we behave. There are lots of mental sickness or mental disorders going on, and this list keep growing. So it's hard to tell if this list keep growing because people getting more sick, or because medical area scientists in their researches found more symptoms, more just providing more classifications and adding more to this list. But generally speaking, this list is very long. So we all know anxiety, depression, and all other types of disorders. Interestingly enough, such type of disorders are not necessarily sicknesses. It all depends on circumstances. On many occasions, this is a normal response of our organism to various conditions. For example, anxiety is a normal response to unknown, stressful, or otherwise fearful situations. Depression is a normal response when we lose loved ones or other unfortunate events in our life. It's not a disease, it's a normal response. When it becomes a disorder, when it takes place without obvious or known reason at all, then it's really disorder and disease, causing lots of troubles to people. United States is actually #1 in consumption for kind of medications for mental disorders, on one hand. Second, we are #1 in terms of medical expenses and medical treatments and cost of medical treatments. And with all that said, statistics show that mental disorders are on the rise through the last several decades. They were on the rise way before lockdown, COVID lockdown, as we know. Then there was definitely a spike during lockdown for obvious reason. People just staying at homes, many got stressed, people were stressful, afraid of losing their jobs. Nobody knew what would happen with the economy, especially when market crashed. I remember just came to the company's meeting online, and the only people were present was me, local, everybody else, only guys from overseas. That day market crashed. So nobody from my team was able to participate in the meeting. People just disappeared, gone forever. It's well understood. You see market goes down, nobody knows how far it goes down, nobody knows exactly what would happen. After the fact, there are lots of experts knowing exactly what was happening around, but not, we have financial people here, knowing when it's exactly happening, because it's unpredictable. And by the way, after it happened, 20% of the market was wiped out. Till now, nobody knows what happened, just disappeared. So stress was for a reason, obviously. Lockdown caused lots of stress, of course. There are other reasons why it is happening, but to a large extent it's not quite clear, because our life in general much more safer, much more stable. And if you're talking about Maslow pyramid, basic needs are quite taken care of in our life. We do not risk our life unless somebody drafted to a war zone, etc. Otherwise, life is good. Yet stress is there. Another point here is physical conditions. Same situation. We have increase in all kinds of sicknesses, diabetes and all others, heart attacks, etc. Same, not clear why it is happening, especially considering all medical expenses that just record high. The United States is #1. As the person actually who was born overseas, I can confirm, yes, our medical system is just great. With all its pros and cons, much better as comparatively to many other places. Some of us can confirm who lived in other countries. Definitely it's not bad. So why it is happening then? Why with all these huge expenses, huge network of specialists and doctors, we still have mental disorders on the rise, certain sickness on the rise? Why it does not go away? This is an area of research for many scientists in the medical area, and there is no clear answer. However, some researchers pointed out to the fact that mental health and physical health very interconnected in pure biological terms. For example, if we're talking about us as a living organism, we can classify ourselves as our main function is metabolism. Metabolism means we generate energy from the environmental materials, just recharge, transform this energy into processes on ourselves and release waste of all these activities in the process of those activities. According to some definitions, metabolism actually is the main function of us as a living organism. Some scientists saying actually, for example, viruses are not a life form because they do not have metabolism. They use cells in order to multiply, use cells metabolism. Interestingly enough, in those processes, the main function is called mitochondria. I'm not specialist, I can mispronounce this word. And this particular function is present in our metabolism in our body, and researchers found actually that it's actually involved in our brain activity as well. So this is connection that may cause to both physiological and mental dysfunctions, or the opposite, functioning properly. This is just one of researches that I read about. Just the guy published a book, and he stated himself this is just one of series. There is no clear answer. But I wanted to state the obvious. We all know that our mental state affects our physical state. Those who happen to be under prolonged stress for a long time knows how it affects our health. We just stop functioning. You just feel everything going down. Physically, you cannot do work. You cannot do anything, basically. We're talking about prolonged stress. And the opposite, bad physical condition often cause all kinds of mental conditions going bad. With all that said, I would say that balanced physical and mental health help us to function in the best way possible. So balanced physical activities help us to stay mentally healthy, and mental health, mental stability helps us with conducting our physical activities and achieve best performance we can. It's all important in our lives. Thank you very much.
So this is a time where we're going to go ahead and look at the speaker feedback form, and we'll take a minute to give Alexey some feedback.
So George and Matt, if you haven't found it yet on our website, LosGatostoastmasters.org, on page 1, there's a link there, and it says speaker feedback form. You're welcome to click on that and actually give some anonymous feedback to Alexey.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Question. Can Gatos also give the feedback?
Me feedback?
No, I can also give the
Oh,
feedback.
yes.
Yes.
So we're gonna have an opportunity to go around as well, so you can write it, and then we're gonna go around the table and give some feedback. Take another few moments to finish up your feedback.
Getting feedback is the key to visa, right? In the first place.
Okay, a few more seconds. Okay, so thank you, Alexey. That was a really cool speech to listen to about the balance and importance of both mental and physical health. And you gave a lot of definitions, and as you got more comfortable, you were making eye contact with everybody, and you could see you warmed up and got really into your speech. So I'm gonna go ahead and invite Stacy to come on up and give us her evaluation, or give Alexey's evaluation. Oh,
yeah.
no, I thought you can't, oh no, it's table topics?
Yeah, we'll give it a little break. in
Oh,
between.
okay, that makes sense, thank you.
Keep them waiting. You know.
I guess, well, there I go
We're
again
gonna
with my
pay attention.
extemporizing, I can't help myself.
It would have worked either way.
Yeah, got it in there.
So Vivian, come on up for table topics, we can have that mental break to have a balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vivian Mao, and today is I'm the table topic host per se. All right. So we are trying something new again. I'm very excited about this. I got my inspiration from a podcast called Meditative Story, which is one of my favorite podcasts. And then each episode is a true first-person story, and the host of the podcast will then stop at the certain important moments, and then he will give mindfulness prompts so the podcast listeners can reflect the stories in their own lives. So today, I get to be the host, and I will give mindfulness prompts so the volunteers today will be able to answer to those prompts. Okay, and I will be the storyteller as well, since we don't have the person to be here to tell the story. So we will have 4 volunteers today. I'm glad that we have enough time, plus the story, so it will take a little bit more time than before. All right, so here is the story called My Battle as a Beginner Opens Up a World of Wonder by Natalie Dawn, who is a singer and a songwriter. And the story goes, as a child, Natalie Dawn goes through life until at age 10, her family moved from LA to a tiny town in the middle of France. Being a rock bottom beginner demolished her ego. In the process, her mind opens in unexpected ways. So before I continue the story, I actually would like to invite the first volunteer.
You're choosing me this time?
Hooray!
Good luck, guys. So you can let me finish the story, and then you get ready for your prompt, okay?
Okay.
All right, so here's the story. My teacher, Madam Ritter, decides that I can fumble my way through math or science with my limited language skills. But when it's time for French, she looks at me and motions towards the door. I get up, grab my things, and walk past the rows of desks. I walk down a dark hallway and exit the building. It seems like a walk of shame. I cross a courtyard and enter a small stone structure and climb a dark wooden stairwell. The stairs creak as I walk up. I take my time, relishing the moment alone, away from staring eyes. I pause, take a deep breath, and step into my new classroom. Drawings hang from the dark wood walls, and there are little kids sitting cross-legged on the floor. They sent me to learn French with first graders. Okay. Geez, that sounds horrible, right? Walk of shame, right? So I wonder if you'd be able to share with us your similar experience if you do have one. If you don't, would you mind sharing with us what goes in your head when you hear the story?
Okay, so a story about when I was a beginner at something?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay.
So she was very, very successful as a very small kid. School was never a problem. But once she moved to France, then she will have to start from the bottom as a very, very fresh beginner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it described the horrible situation that she's in, right?
Yeah, that she felt. Okay,
Right.
got it. Yeah, thank you. So what immediately comes to mind for me is when I joined my jiu-jitsu class. It was the first time I've done martial arts since being a little kid, and I walked in there. Everybody was in a gi. I wasn't in a gi. All these guys had been going there for a while, and I was the only newcomer that day. And everybody was very welcoming and friendly, right? And we did our practicing with each other and kind of our, forget what they call it, but yeah, kind of sparring, yeah. And I'm in this class with 15-year-olds to maybe 70-year-olds, right? 60-year-olds. And I'm a big guy, I'm a strong guy, right? And everybody loves to give me their best, right? Just because they want to prove themselves against me. And I went up against this 15-year-old thinking oh, he's just a kid. I'll put him in a headlock, no problem. And this guy turned me into a pretzel. And yeah, so I was definitely starting at the bottom. And then I think I went up against one of the 6-year-olds as well. And again, turned me into a pretzel. I think I almost lost consciousness that first practice. So yeah, and it was all in good fun, right? But I was definitely starting from the bottom. And so I can relate to the story. And yeah, never judge a book by its cover. Yeah, and be careful out there. Thank you.
And before we continue the story, I would like to ask for the second volunteer. Anyone? We always start with our guest, right?
Good idea.
Okay. Let me continue the story. Okay. So every day as my peers watch me leave my classroom, I think I'm the oldest and the worst at everything. But over time, something interesting happens. They are so excited to see me and share a book, a toy, a drawing, a song. As they surround me, my mood shifts. They play with my hair and sit on my lap. We develop a fondness for each other that cuts across language. They love to look at books with me, to teach me, and I feel so much they want me to learn. I don't feel judged by these kids. They make me feel less like an outsider and more like part of a family. They too are absolute beginners. We are in it together in this space set up just for us. For some reason, this kind of sounds like our Toastmaster club. So, would you mind sharing with us a similar experience in your life that you might have?
Like I thought that I'm a beginner entering into some activity or something, and after later I found out that there are many people who are like me, and then I'm not alone here.
Yes.
I feel like this one is something I can tell many stories, but I have been working in corporate for quite some time, around 15 to 17 years. My wisdom has improved while working in corporate, and initially when I used to join a new team or a company, most of the time I get an impression, oh, these people are super awesome and they know exactly what they are doing and they're super smart, and I'm so dumb I don't even know this or that. But later I figured out that this is only the first impression. Go slow and take your time. Most of people out in the room have the same feeling like I have. Give it some time and it's gonna be okay. Many of the people are not too far from me in terms of my ability. Maybe they have some heads up. I might have to catch on, but they are not very far, and I have my ability. Looking at my past, I can see my victories in my past that I can catch up, and I sincerely believe in my ability to extemporize, and now I really capitalize on that. Now it's almost certain that I do not get influenced by just have my first look when I enter into anything, be it a new activity, new classroom, new training, new company, new group, or anything new I'm trying. If I'm really starting at zero, I have developed a little thick skin in admitting that yes, I do not know anything about it. I'm starting at zero, but along with that, I'm gonna share my plan how I'm gonna improve on it. So I hope it answered that question. Thank you.
So in the story, Natalie started to find friends, and then also found that they are in a space set up for them to learn together. So the next part is a bit long, but before I get on it, I would like to find the third volunteer.
Let me try.
Yes. So please bear with me. The last bit is a bit long. Okay.
Okay.
So one day when leaving school, a first grader I sit next to waves goodbye and squeals with joy. Adame, pardon my French. I mean, for real. Natalie, I will see you tomorrow, Natalie. Her brother, my peer, stares at me. For the first time, I don't feel embarrassed. My little friend's expression of joy and excitement is bigger than my feelings of shame. The more time I spend with the first graders, the less I feel horrible about being bad at French, and the more I realize that no one expects me to be good. Everybody just expects me to be a beginner. By the end of the fall semester, my malatati, pardon my French again, that means headaches. So her headache stops. My French picks up speed, and soon I'm far ahead of my parents. Eventually, the newness of everything stops scaring me. It starts to feel fun. So that's the part I really like. So things start to change for her, and she starts to feel fun. That is very important. And then, isn't this what we are doing here at our club? So would you like to share the similar experience that you have?
Yeah, definitely. Because I just moved here 4 years ago. Everyone know my English is not good. That's why I came here. Yeah, I like to use the word extemporize.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to me to take this type of topic because I must be able to externalize the topic. Okay, but I try. You said when she feel fun, then she feel everything get better and better. I mean, for me, actually, I have been learning English since I was in high school in China, but I still cannot speak. Have a good conversation with native people. Actually, for me, I feel a little bit embarrassed and ashamed in the beginning. But I think I have excuse because I just moved here. Then I said, okay, maybe I just take 1 or 2 years to learn ESL. Then I can become a fluently native speaker. But indeed, the professor told me, oh, mostly everyone, most people need 7 years to get that level. Oh my goodness. It made me very, a little bit frustrated. Even now, I think my English only stay in the conversation level. I still cannot catch up the whole speech. So when I heard about this story, say when you feel interesting, maybe you can improve. I believe that. That's why I came here. That's the reason I came here. I want to keep learning and join the group. Thank you.
Okay, here comes to the end of the story. The entire episode of this podcast is a lot longer, but we don't have the time to go through the whole thing. But I think I kind of get the most important part of it. So here comes the final part of today. But I would like to find the fourth volunteer tonight. Yeah, our director. Thank you. All right, so let me finish reading the last part. I'm learning from the first year in France. When you allow yourself to be a beginner, when you create the space for yourself to truly learn, then you get the joy of discovery without the weight of your own expectations. So that's the conclusion. And then could you please just give us the conclusion, your own words, or share with us your experience?
Yeah, sure. So, speaking of French, actually a couple of years ago I did learn French myself. And why? Back in 2012, I had like a training in Paris, and I think that was scheduled 6 months before. So I decided why not take some French classes, and I finished up to the pre-intermediate level, was about level 3. I wouldn't say conversational level. How good it was, but probably good enough to order coffee and croissant. That's all you need. Yeah, I remember when I went to Paris, in the reality, all French people are speaking, I couldn't understand a word. Yeah, maybe I was better in reading than listening to people talk. So when we talked too fast, it was very hard for me to pick up what they were saying. But then later I met with one of my friends. But in Paris, you can survive with English if you struggle with French. But if you go to the south, like Marseille or Toulouse or Montpellier, nobody speaks English. You have to speak French. And I have a situation, I'm in a hotel, I'm in the pharmacy, but nobody speaks English. What do I do? Google Translate wasn't working very well back then. A couple of words and here and there, I managed. But here's the, I felt like my French a little bit improved when I went to Montpellier, when I had to speak some French. I feel like you have no other choice. So sometimes called in life, when you feel that you have to put in the effort, when you're not getting help, you get what to improve. And it's not about the language. Think about yourself when you go to a new country, to a new city, to a new job, meeting new people. It's always face those difficulties at first, but keep in mind, you're a human being. You need some time to adapt, to adjust, to digest. And you deserve the chance, you deserve even a second chance. So no matter how things look dire, look pessimistic, things will improve, things will change, because nothing will be constant in life but change. Back to you.
Yeah, agree. At the end of the table topic, I would like to share one last thing I have learned over the years is it's as she says, the expectations are so big, sometimes just very crushing. And here we are in Silicon Valley, like expectations for everything from what you do to how your kids are doing and everything. So sometimes it's just so hard. But she just says about how she gets a lot of joy and actually have discovered so many things without the weight of her own expectations. I want to share this lesson with everybody here, and hopefully that you also enjoy the speeches with our guests today. Thank you.
Creative.
Thanks, Vivian. That was a lot of fun.
Right.
It was fun to kind of watch
Summarizing.
the evolution of the story and hear everybody share their personal stories.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of went with my limiting beliefs question at the beginning, like everyone kind of tied
Exactly,
together.
yeah.
So I liked how that tied together. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Stacy to come on up and share her evaluation about Alexey's speech on physical activity and mental health.
Thank you, Melissa. Alexey, this has been really enjoyable for me because this is the third, might be the fourth, but I think this is the third time I've seen you speak. And each time there's been a dramatic improvement. So you spoke the very first, this is like my fifth time I think it's my fifth time here. So Alexey wins the award for giving the most speeches in the last 5 weeks. So my 5 words that came up for me, and maybe you guys have words too, but like I would say warm, approachable, strong, smart, and logical. So you do with that what you wish, but also ask yourself, okay, how do I want people to describe me? How do I want to be seen as a speaker? Certainly warm, approachable, strong, smart, and logical aren't bad, right? But there's more, right, to be had. But yes, so that is what came across for me. And in terms of what went well, I loved when you opened up with your smile and you directed humor at me. I'm going to talk with my mouth open. And the connection you made. When you make a joke and you look at somebody, there was like a strong connection. And so that's something that I want to remember to do when I'm speaking, is connect, and that's a big piece. Your eye contact was great after the first few minutes, right? So you opened up. So I think that's an improvement. Right? Sometimes when we're nervous, we all start down, but you opened up, looked around. I loved how you organized your content. Your transitions were good. You had a lot of, first of all, I have to say your pace was very good and very clear. I don't know how wide your mouth was open, but I could understand you, and the pace, I could absorb the points you were making, but how you built in your transitions were excellent. Like, let's start with X, right? That's key. Oh, okay, now we're, you brought me along. And you also said, well, I have mental health, with all that said, right, that helps. It's like, I'm following with you. What makes this most interesting is, right? So these pieces, and so why is this happening? These rhetorical questions and pausing, very effective in keeping the group with you. Vocal fluctuation was good. I noticed you weren't monotone. You went up and down, but I think it was more staccato. What I noticed, it was like emphasis in certain parts, which was really effective. It was especially towards the end when you were wrapping up. Lots of examples. Your stats were interesting. I would say, really, I was struggling to come up with things to give you. So I would say your next challenge from my perspective is, your hand gestures are good, they're strong and confident because you're still, but I want you to be bigger. I want you to take up more space in the room by going outside of this zone. And one time you do a lot of this. One time you did say, oh, when the things went down, and I'm like, it re-engaged me. So just more gestures, like comparing, contrast, and using your hands outside, I think would be fun to play with. Yeah.
That's next level of control during speech.
Yeah.
Next level of control. We'll be working on it.
Yeah.
So I don't see on here that we have the round or the go around. It looks like we've got a couple minutes for that. Do we want to go ahead and go around and we can share a little bit of feedback?
Would be great,
Yeah, okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. So anyone want to start us off for giving Alexey a little bit of feedback on his speech?
Yeah, I always enjoy your speeches. They're technical. They're filled with information. I don't know how you memorize all that stuff, or maybe you just read a book the night before, or you write home. But one thing that I was seeking, and maybe it could be a next speech, was what can I do to find better balance between physical and mental? You backed it up and gave us all the stats and the science and how they're interconnected. But okay, now what's next? How can I get better balance in my life? So just an idea there.
I know, just what is it for about?
Yeah, maybe less the science, and
more like,
at some point, okay, now this is what you can have as a real takeaway for your life.
Like a call to action.
Exactly.
What makes us involved, yeah.
Yeah.
I can just kind of add to that, because that's exactly what I wanted to point out. I felt like I'm at some lecture and it just was facts, facts, facts. And at some point I felt depressed. I'm like, oh my God, this is hopeless. Like, what the heck? I just want to go and like jump off the bridge, because I would just add a little bit more humor and make it lighter. Because it sounded like it was dreadful. Like, oh my God, this is bad, 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 bad. The United States, most depression, most drugs, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so I don't know, what was the point you're trying to make with the speech? I missed the point. What was the main goal? If you wanted just to point out how awful it is, you managed to do that. But if you wanted to show us that, you know, being more active physically helps us with being more, you know, healthier mentally, that was like too small, and it was, I would make that part bigger and less statistics and numbers and, you know.
You're right, that was the point, and I obviously kind of did not
Yeah, I would just
communicate
make
it
that first part
correctly.
very short and then more on the optimistic side.
Yeah, he's the engineer.
Yeah, I'll follow up on Chris and Anna. I would second that. When I saw the title of the speech and when you launched into it, I thought, okay, you're gonna set the stage and talk about mental health. But also I was then looking for the solution of physical activity. There's a lot of studies now that physical activity of any degree has a positive effect on mental health. So I was hoping for that sort of transition to, okay, but there's hope here. And would have emphasized that more. In terms of balance, it was too top heavy with the mental part of it, and I would have liked to have heard more of the solution. But more importantly, it would have given you an opportunity to add a personal story, like, hey, when I'm stressed at work or came in from a flight or something, I know if I can go out for 5 minutes and walk in the sun, I notice a difference in my mental health. Try and find a way to inject a personal story into your speeches. You give these speeches, but I want to hear more about you. So I would challenge you to intertwine, make it a little more personal. You know, not always easy, but you can find a way if you try hard enough.
So to summarize this kind of last several, so better to clarify the goal of the speech, the purpose of the speech, not just informational part, but just what the purpose of the
I
understanding.
would say less data. You obviously an engineer or something. They're very data heavy, and more personal stories. Make it more relatable. Make it lighter, so it's more fun to listen to. Because I felt like I was at the lecture.
Actually, constantly criticized for too much data.
It's fascinating that you guys pointed this out, because in my mind I pictured you being a lecturer of this information, and that was your job, was like, okay, I'm here to educate and inform you about the stats. So I never thought about what you guys said, which was, make it more like fun and like personalize it with a story. So this feedback you're giving is helpful for me, because I just saw it as, okay, the purpose of this is to inform us about this, and that not like there's more, right? So anyway, interesting.
So, yeah, I just want to add that, yeah, it is a technical speech, so I would expect it to have data. I mean, it was not supposed to be a funny or...
Right.
No, not funny.
I mean, it was not a humorous speech, but it's, I mean, I learned a lot. Maybe I can interpret something from it, but as far as positive feedback, I'll just say that I really liked your pace. It was very comfortable to listen to. In the past, we have given feedback that, you know, it was too fast, but it was really enjoyable to listen to your speech. So, but yeah, I think data, I mean, it's subjective, right? Like, I think, in my opinion, it was a technical speech.
Depends on the audience.
Yeah, it's a technical speech.
I think, it depends what was the purpose.
Right.
Because if it was a forum that you came to provide data and just, and that's what expected from you, then obviously. But in this setting, I would think that it's about how you make people feel with what you're saying. And, you know, me personally, I felt very sad.
You did it.
I just didn't think this way.
I didn't either, but that's interesting.
And that's why we do this, because we all learn from all the feedback that we're receiving or getting about, wow, next time I do a speech, what do I want people to walk away with? What's my objective in their mind? What's the takeaway? What's the reason why they should be even paying attention to the very end, right? And that has to do with the conclusion and reading the room, reading your audience. Is it a work thing? Is it like a semi-social thing? Or is it in the middle? So.
But on the positive note, I want to say that, you know, you made me feel something. I wasn't indifferent, and I didn't fall asleep, so that's a huge thing. I don't like data like just facts, and the fact that it provoked thought and provoked feeling, and I'm like, oh my, wow, I was thinking. So that is huge. I think that's important, because it was thought provoking, and that's I think what was the goal, right? So then.
multiple goals, mostly pronunciation and articulation first. No, that was my key problem, or still key problem. So, but the rest, well understood, and just want to add few words of bad people that extremely able to influence, like super influential, and they may achieve just great success just because they can talk to people and just influence them that way. I guess many of them does know such people, and just trying to move into that direction. So the final goal is to influence,
Okay.
to project something, certain kind of views or impressions that can require it for
Thanks
certain
for being our
activities.
speaker tonight.
Yeah.
You're a brave one.
I have one point to make if I'm allowed to.
Oh no, absolutely.
I totally enjoyed your speech, and I know there are now two opinions, one whether it's a logical speech or whether it's a fun to listen to speech. I found it one thing which I want to point out, and it will be applicable whether you gonna call it as a fun speech or a logical speech. You spend too much time in addressing why after COVID people were depressed. So this is something which everybody has experienced, and you don't have to provide that much logical data, as well as, again, it's not even fun to hear to. So you can just, because it's a worldwide fact and everybody has observed it, you don't have to have too much data backing up with why people feel depressed during COVID time. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, that's the value of going around the table. We all
Yep.
get to kind of add our 2 cents, and I've been here just long enough to see what it's like without it and with it, and I think it's really nice to have this conversation, even though it takes a little bit of extra time. I think everyone seems to really value it. So going once, going twice, I'm gonna move us along if anyone else has anything to add.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I see one more person, I'll let him go. Sorry.
Absolutely.
So Alexey, I see that you wrote your script. And tell you that's something I used to do, especially when I was giving my first speeches in Toastmaster. Back then, it wasn't Pathways, it was the Competent Communicator. And my project 2 was about organize my speech. I gave my speech, and then I had a very blunt evaluator, where he said to me, "Your conclusion was weak." That's how he said it. And then I asked my mentor, why was my conclusion weak? And he said, because you abruptly end your speech. Your audience didn't feel that you were concluding your speech. You're writing your script. Here's what you can do. In any speech, I agree with what they have said. You can either wrap up your speech, that's whether your summary. You can also call to action, or you may try to link your conclusion to your introduction. Maybe you can start off your introduction with a question, give your speech, and then at the conclusion you answer the question you posed in the introduction. That way the audience knows, okay, your introduction was attention grabber, you posed a question, and they start wondering about your question, you give a speech, and then when they learn about the subject of your speech, you give your conclusion. And until even in contests, sometimes called a strong conclusion can make the difference, can help you win. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
right.
thank you. All right. Julie, if you could come up, it's time for functionary reports. Julie's gonna go over everybody's time for tonight. So Julie, ready for you on that?
So for today, we only had one speaker, Alexey, and you just went over time by 43 seconds. And then we had, for all our table topics, everyone was on time. The shortest time speech was Don Wen. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Don, okay. Yes. So 1 minute and 28 seconds. It's the shortest. But everybody else was on time. for evaluators, we only had one evaluator, Stacy. And Stacy, you were just over by 32 seconds.
Ooh.
It's okay. We had time today, but overall, everyone stayed on time.
Nice.
All right, next up, Carl. Carl's gonna come on up and tell us about the awe counting and notable phrase, no, not notable phrases, awe counting.
Well, I'll start with Alexey. You had very, very balanced pauses. They were perfect and no ums and ahs. And your pacing was great. So I think that is something that you
First
need to
time.
keep. Yes, yes. No ums and ahs or anything like that. And you were pacing things, and you had pauses in between where someone else might have thrown in a lot of ums and ahs. But now for the for the extemporaneous speeches, which is the adjective for what is it? Extemporize?
Extemporize, yes.
Ray, you had about a dozen ums and ahs.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So you might want to work on that a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay.
And Stacy, in reviewing the speeches, you also had about a dozen. But you used them mainly between thoughts and subject matters and so forth, instead of in the middle of the sentence. So it was less annoying. So I think that you still might want to work on that. And that's all I have. Everybody else has been doing pretty well. Thank you.
All right, next up, we've got Chris. Chris is gonna come up and share with us how often we used extemporize and some notable
All
phrases.
right, you did well tonight. Sometimes we don't use the word of the day very much. Extemporize was done by Melissa, myself, Carl, Alexey, and Anant. Anyone else I missed? Maybe Aziz said it? Okay. So let's move on. Some great language tonight. Alexey, so some tweaks here. Such type versus these types. Through the last several decades. I love that. It was kind of a nice visual. Stress was a reason versus stress contributed to or was the reason. Why is it happening then versus why it is happening? Why is this happening, right? And then I loved when you said mental and physical health is interrelated or interconnected, and then balance physical and mental health. Those are just things that stuck out for me as a listener. Vivian, I haven't heard this, but mindfulness prompts. Interesting idea. We had a lot of fun with you tonight. The joy of discovery without the weight of expectations. That was very nice. That really tapped into what you kicked us off with. Ray, they love to give me their best. Oh yeah. And you give it right back eventually, right? Starting from the bottom. That was a good kind of visual as well, right? We all feel like that in our lives at some point, and we get better together. Anant, I can see my victories. I love that. You can visualize your victories that you had in the past, and that give you more confidence. First impressions versus going slow. You come in and you're like, wow, these great speakers and people. I'm gonna go slow, take a step back. I'm gonna evaluate and read the room and give that some time. Dan Wen, I try versus I will try. Something powerful you said to me that I think we've all also felt too. You felt embarrassed and ashamed.
Yeah.
Those are some deep emotions, embarrassed and ashamed, right? Whether it was warranted or not, probably wasn't, but that's how you felt. Catch up the whole speech versus improve my speech. You meant, I wish that my speech level was improved or where it needs to be. Aziz, sometimes you need to put in the effort to improve. I mean, isn't that something that we should all expect? But yeah, we have to remind ourselves, we have to put in effort into this to improve as speakers and leaders. Nothing constant in life than change versus my wife works at Apple. She says their saying is the only constant is change.
Yeah.
That's what they say there. It's
Yeah.
a little bit of an abbreviated version of that. Okay, and then wrapping it up, Stacy, how do I want people to describe me? That was a profound question. It was a rhetorical question, but it got us thinking. How do I want to get that going. The connection you made. We are here to connect with other people through language and through the way that we structure our language and use our bodies. And you re-engaged me, right? Kind of fired me back up again mentally. Okay, last one. Tom, interject a personal story. So key. It's like your advice is always, tell me a personal story.
Yeah.
Think of the data and everything's fine, but tell me something personal about yourself and you will draw me in and I will be a happy audience member as a result. Okay, thank you.
You had your work cut out for you. We had a full room today. Nice. Last but not least, our general evaluator, Ray, is going to come on up and give us his general evaluation of the meeting tonight.
Okay, thank you for having me tonight. I thought, so we started on time. Looks like we're gonna end a little late, but that's okay. I thought we were an enthusiastic group. It's very welcoming, and I thought we all provided constructive feedback to one another. I thought the preparation was great, the organization, and I thought we all did well with our performance of duties, especially Chris, Grammarian. I mean, awesome feedback. I look forward to one of your speeches.
I know. Get on there. I'm embarrassed and ashamed right now. I'll get on there. End of the month.
And just wanted to say, Stacy, again, great feedback. You're an awesome evaluator.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you are.
Chris, your call to action. Tom, like Chris said, add a personal story to our speeches. I think that's great advice for everybody, just generally
I don't
speaking.
know why that's so hard, but it is.
Yeah. Everybody seemed engaged and offered constructive feedback. And yeah, I had a great time. It's a great group. Look forward to coming back next week. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Do I close us out?
You can, or you can hand it back over
Okay,
to Tom to
that
close it
would
out.
make sense. All right, Tom, come on up and close us out because I'm going to be done for tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good job, Melissa, first time out.
Great job.
Yeah, wonderful job.
Thank you for being kind.
I was remiss when I started, I didn't recognize VJ as a returning contestant. VJ?
Welcome back, BJ.
VJ, come up here. Come up here. We're running late on time. I'm only gonna give you 30 seconds. You came last week.
Yes, I did.
And then again, you returned this week. Can you, in 30 seconds, tell the group why you're back?
Why am I back?
Why?
All right. I got up at 5 a.m. this morning. And I took 6:37 a.m. train to San Francisco. And I'm directly coming here from there. I didn't go home. I think the last meeting left a good impression on me, and I really didn't want to miss it. So that's why I'm here, and I'll keep coming back.
Welcome back. And George and Matt too, just make sure they enjoyed their time.
Yeah, before we sign off, George, what'd you think of this hybrid experience?
Well, I mean, thank you for asking me. So I must say that from the vantage point of a Zoom participant, I found that the speeches which were delivered as a lecturer was a little bit hard to hear compared to the speakers who are near to the microphone, which is, by the way, I guess, close to the camera. So that's my observation. Okay, so is there a way by which, it could not be my setup because I was clearly hearing what people who were close to the microphone were saying. So my suggestion is that is there a way to detach the microphone and put it at the center of the table or something like that? That would make speeches given by the people at the lectern to be heard more clearly by the Zoom participants. That was my suggestion. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, George.
I have the phone I can bring this time.
You could try it.
Yeah, so we have you can't see it, George, we have the speakers right in the middle of the table, so maybe next week we can try and move it up a little bit for a better audio for the speaker. Thanks for that suggestion, George. And Matthew finishes off. What'd you think of our group here tonight?
Yeah, I thought the group was fantastic. I really enjoyed everyone's speeches, and also the feedback given from everyone around the room. I thought that was fantastic, and I hope to actually join you guys in person next week.
Yeah, please do. Good to have you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Please do, Matthew. I think you'll find the in-person experiences a lot different than the hybrid. So welcome to come anytime. Thanks for coming tonight. And before I wrap up tonight, 2 things for next week. We're still missing a Toastmaster. Melissa signed up tonight. We need another brave soul for next week. Maybe Alexey. I know you were signed up before. Maybe it's your time now to take on that role. Okay, you can do it. You can do it. And secondly, we all need to be here next week. It's the big event. Ray's finally going to give his icebreaker speech. This is the meeting we've all been waiting for. He's been working on. He's been a member for 6 months. He's been working on this speech for 6 months.
Yes.
So high expectations.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah. So good luck with that, Ray. All right, that's it, kids. See you later. Thank you.
Thank you.